I'm very sorry for what I did. I did not mean to offend anybody. If you were personally offended, I do apologize. Oh! Hi. What? No, I meant everything I just said. Number 10, Louis C.K. Louis was dominating the comedy scene in the early 2010s thanks to the success of his sitcom based loosely on his life called Louis. In 2017, he was forced to make a public apology after it was revealed that he had a problem keeping his trouser snake in its cave. The sitcom star and stand-up comedian was hot off an appearance on the late-night sketch show Saturday Night Live when the allegations began arising. Probably happening after people saw that weird ice cream sketch he was in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, stay away from that. That man is a weirdo. It was revealed that the rumors were in fact true because Louis posted an apology titled, "The stories are true." 5 women had alleged misconduct on Louis' part because he had exposed himself to the women without their consent. In his apology, he wouldn't stop referring to the power that he had over the women, the strength that he wielded. He said he felt remorse. Okay, sure. But to cap off the tone of the deaf apology, he listed all of the projects that he was involved in that would be suffering from his cancellation. Like, before he went, he needed to remind us all just how good he was. Like, I'm sorry for my actions. The worst part is all the TV shows and movies that are gonna suffer because of it. Number 9, Hannah Brown. Any members of Bachelor Nation surely know about this rough moment in the show's history. A bachelorette by the name of Hannah Brown was on Instagram trying to remember the lyrics to DaBaby's Rockstar. And in doing so, she said one of the no-knowest of no-no words to ever exist, the N-word. She stopped herself for a moment after she said it, but then she continued to mumble along to the song. She received a massive slew of backlash thanks to the astounding 2.8 million people watching her video. She later apologized for the incident and claims that she was under the influence during the clip. Hey, that's not a good argument. She actually didn't even realize what she had said until she started receiving Instagram Live comments calling out her behavior and just basically calling her trash. The next day, she released a written apology online, but not a physical one, which was what was really needed. The apology was filled with your typical, "I promise to be better, I have some work to do," that kind of spiel, which literally nobody bought. Rachel Lindsay, who was The Bachelorette's first and only black lead so far, responded to the apology claiming that the incident was a gross misuse of a platform. Hannah shared her words with millions of people using her face, but she couldn't do the same thing while she was apologizing. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have become a major part of the media storm this week after their character letters to Danny Masterson were leaked to the public. Danny is on trial for the physical mistreatment of several women, and he had been in custody since May, but he was recently sentenced to 30 years in prison. Even after the slew of evidence and testimonies, Danny and his team have still publicly maintained his innocence. Well, Ashton and Mila were also under that impression when they wrote character letters to the judge overseeing his case, in which they described Danny as a decent man who was generous and kind. Mila chimed in and praised Danny, calling him an outstanding role model and a friend. The letters that were intended solely for the eyes of the judge were leaked into the press. They wrote these letters well after the controversy came to light, so not only were they aware of Danny's possible sentencing, but they still decided to back him up, hence the apology video. Over the weekend, the couple released a video apologizing for the statements they made in their letters that was just the fakest thing that you have ever seen in your life. Now, I'm gonna break it down. It's tea time. First and foremost, Mila is an actress. Between herself and Ashton, it's pretty clear who's the busiest bee in the house. It's Mila. It's also obvious from the way Mila speaks that during the entire apology, it's just all lies. The whole thing is filled with the same old tropes as every other apology video ever put into the world. They understand the pain they've caused, they're sorry for their actions, blah blah blah. But you gotta hand it to these guys, they actually sound like they have their lines down pat. In case it isn't obvious, which come on, it is. They have clearly rehearsed this speech and they've got it down to under a minute. I'm not sure if they wrote it themselves though, because the vocabulary that they use is very advanced. I'm sorry if I don't believe that Jesse from Dude Where's My Car wrote the sentence, "full consideration relative to the sentencing." They actually might not be completely off script, however, because periodically throughout the video, you can see them looking off of camera, almost like they're reading cue cards on SNL. The video just proved that they had little to no remorse for their actions, believing that they were just trying to help a friend in need. At one point, they say they had no intention for the letters that they had written to be seen by anyone other than the judge. So their apology was more of a, oh man, I'm sorry we got caught kind of thing. They're not actually sorry for anything they've said or done, they're just sorry that someone leaked their letters to the press. Like, listen, Either apologize for something or don't, because when you try to make the whole justified apology thing, it's just plain rude. Supporting a man who is being accused by several women of something that is truly disturbing is a major red flag in our eyes. Mila looks so done the entire time, and she is overacting with each and every word she says. Meanwhile, Ashton seems just a little bit more calm, cool, and collected, but he really shouldn't be. Supporting Danny, especially when it comes to this situation, makes him look like a massive hypocrite. In case you were unaware, Ashton's been working with a company called Thorn since 2012. The company that he co-founded with Demi Moore that is designed to monitor the activity of underage folks online and prevent any criminal situations from taking place. The company has grown since, and it still works to that goal to this day. Which, like, hey, that is awesome! Keep people safe online, way to go. But how are you going to create an entire company dedicated to preventing the exact thing that your buddy was arrested for? Ashton has been called out by many fans and victims of violence for his hypocritical actions. There is no word on how his company is handling the situation, but so far it's not looking like they have any reason to fire him just yet. Despite his buddy Danny being charged and sentenced to 30 years, he still seems to be holding back in his apology video. The video is, after all, just like 1 minute long, so we can only imagine how much stuff that this man actually had to say. His letter was very revealing. As I'll get into in a moment, Ashton and Mila have been well aware of Danny's controversy for quite some time, yet when asked to write character witness statements, they leaped at the opportunity to defend him. Both Ashton and Mila have always presented themselves as, calm, cool, and collected people. But between Ashton's humanitarian work and Mila's career in comedy, they seemed like a wholesome Hollywood couple born from controversy. Yeah, Ashton was still married when he started seeing Mila, allegedly. But that's not my point. What we've come to learn in the last few weeks is that this couple may actually be super toxic, rude, and dismissive behind the scenes. There have been reports here and there, but they all run along the same pattern of they're terrible guests and they're always annoyed by everything. In fact, in a recent interview, past Hawk host Sharon Osbourne shared her encounter with Ashton a few years ago. While doing an interview for E!, she told the outlet that the rudest celebrity she had ever met was the guy who married the actress from That 70s Show. When the host confirmed that she meant Ashton Kutcher, she called him a, quote, rude little boy. The hosts were shocked as she went on to call him a dastardly little thing. Like, she's very focused on the little thing. She claimed that Ashton had been a guest when she was still working on The Talk. He had a very bad attitude about everything. She said he was mad from the start and asked Sharon to list her credentials, trying to play the whole "I'm more established than you are, so why am I here" type thing. Sharon, of course, is the Princess of Darkness, being married to rock legend Ozzy Osbourne, so she put Ashton in his place, which he did not like. It would be no surprise to learn that Ashton is a mean man off camera. Think about some of the segments on his prank show Punk'd. "We just towed your car away and now you have to take the bus. Yes, you just got punked." That's a real thing that happened to somebody. On camera. Ashton is not the only bad apple in this relationship. Mila is also known for being a pretty rude individual, especially when it comes to interviews. As with many celebrities, she likes to stay busy, but busy for her is acting. It's not talking about real stuff. She is known for being easily annoyed by very simple questions. In fact, when asked how she was feeling in one interview, she responded with, "I don't talk about that for publication." Okay, a simple "I'm good" would have been okay, but whatever. Several interviewers found her to be dismissive, and she very clearly did not want to be there. Same with this apology video. Mila just looks annoyed. She's visibly confused as to why she has to make this video in the first place. Who was it benefiting? Why was it important? Well, lots of people, and for several reasons. They apologize for a lot of things in this video, but as I previously touched on, they don't actually say Danny is a bad guy and we know that now. They apologize for the pain that the words that they've said have caused, claiming the goal was never to denounce the testimonies given in court. For these guys, it was just a letter about their buddy from That 70s Show. But let's talk about That 70s Show for a moment, because it was not all peaches and cream behind the scenes either. That 70s Show was a popular sitcom that helped launch several careers, including Mila, Ashton, and Danny. Danny was of course on this show, but it turns out that the allegations against him dated back to 2004, where they were actually reported, like in 2004. Danny was still on the show when an investigation was taking place. 4 women reported that he had mistreated them physically, prompting local law enforcement to halt production on the show and bring Danny in for questioning. The investigation brought little to no actual evidence to the table, so Danny was let go, and the entire thing was just kind of forgotten about. But that means that Ashton and Mila literally watched this dude go in for questioning and still called him a role model in their character witness letters. It makes no sense. Their jobs were literally stopped while this man was under investigation. And when the charges come up again over 15 years later, they still stick to his side. That 70s show was chock full of issues behind the scenes, because not only was Danny being investigated, but it turned out that Mila lied about her age just to get a role on the show. But she was already so deep into the run that they just didn't want to write her character out. Just imagine if things worked out differently. That 70s show would have just been two buddies in a basement hanging out. Just basically the premise of Dude, Where's My Car? Their letter may not have been intended to call the testimonies of the victims into question or whatever, but that's what happened. Plus, yeah, it's definitely what you were trying to do. The media has been covering this situation for a long time. Danny was brought into custody in May, but the allegations were actually brought up as far back as 2017. Between 2017 and now, Ashton and Mila have still decided that this man is a good dude and a role model. I still can't get past that statement. Role model for what, not doing the right thing maybe? Yeah. The apology only makes the entire situation that much worse. The overacting that takes place combined with the obviously fake apology makes them look even worse than they already are. It was just them telling us how sorry they were that things turned out this way. In an alternate universe, the letters made their way to the judge untouched, leaving Ashton and Mila to live in blissful ignorance. Now, there are so many reasons why this apology is meaningless and why it's so obviously a fake move made for like press coverage or something, from the bad acting to the cue cards to the "I'm sorry we got caught" angle. This is just the worst thing that these two could have done.
Starting in at number 10, we have Lea Michele. Back in 2020, former Glee star Lea Michele got called out by a cast member on Twitter after Michele posted a tweet saying, "Black Lives Matter." Actor Samantha Maria Ware was quickly to respond by saying Michele's tweet was hypocritical and claimed the star made her first television gig a living hell, and the whole experience made her question her career in Hollywood. Shortly after the tweet, other Glee actors such as Alex Newell, Amber Riley, and Heather Morris came out to say the star was unpleasant to work with. A few days later, Michele responded by tweeting a lengthy apology saying, "When she tweeted the other day, it was meant to be a show of support to our friends and neighbors and communities of color during this difficult time. But the responses I received to what I posted have made me also focus specifically on how my own behavior towards fellow cast members was perceived by them." Many perceived Lee's statement as a non-apology, and in response, Ware told Variety that all Lee's apology did was affirm that she hasn't learned anything. Coming in at number 9, we have Chrissy Teigen. In 2019, Chrissy Teigen made a joke about her mom and how she kept losing her $150 AirPods. The star in a tweet said, "My mom treats her AirPods like they're disposable and buys a few a month. She says that they would be easier to not lose if they had a cord." Fans were quick to point out that how much privilege it is to have these devices and it shouldn't be rubbed in people's faces. Chrissy responded with an apology saying that it was meant to be a joke and it came off super tone deaf and icky. The star also went on to say that even though she doesn't always do or say the right thing, she hates disappointing her fans, and she also mentioned that she's deeply sorry and promised to do better. Luckily for the star, all was forgiven and she was able to move on from the scandal. If you guys are liking this video so far, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Vanessa Hudgens. In March of 2020, Vanessa Hudgens went live on Instagram to address the pandemic. In her clip, she said, "Even if everybody gets it, like yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but it's unavoidable." The results of this post sent her fans in a frenzy as they began to lash back at the star. A few days later, Vanessa tweeted, "I realized my words were insensitive and not all appropriate for the situation in our country and the world that's happening right now. This has been a huge wake-up call for the significance of my words, now more than ever. Me sending safe wishes to everyone to stay safe and healthy during these crazy times." Unfortunately for Vanessa, many of her fans were still unimpressed with the star, mainly because she failed to apologize for saying it was okay for people to die during the outbreak. At number 7, we have Hailey Bieber. In July of 2020, a TikTok video posted by a restaurant hostess, Julia Carolyn, went viral after she spilled the tea on how Hailey Bieber treated staff at a New York location. Julia went on to say that she met the model a handful of times, and on every occasion she met her, she was not nice. She did note that she really did want to like her, but had to give the star a 3.5 out of 10. Ouch. Just after the video was posted, Hailey came into the comments and said, "Just came across this video and wanted to say, I'm sorry, I never wanted to give you bad vibes or attitudes, that just never was my intention." Luckily for Hailey, fans really appreciated the time she took to respond to the post and noted it's really rare for a celebrity to apologize to a normal person. Number 6, we have Reese Witherspoon. Reese Witherspoon was able to avoid celebrity scandal up until 2013, when she and her husband were pulled over for suspicious of driving under the influence for driving in the wrong lane. In a captured video taken by police, you can hear the actor saying things like, "Do you know my name?" and "You're about to find out who I am." Reese remained silent on the issue until she went on Good Morning America, saying, "It was like one of those nights when we went out for dinner, had one too many of glasses, and thought it was okay to drive home." She then claimed that her husband and her were sorry it happened, and that they knew better than that, and that it would never happen again. Fans were definitely on the fence when it came to this scandal, as there's always better options to arrive home safely. So remember, just before you go out, plan ahead by ordering a taxi, Uber, or asking a sober friend to pick you up. Number 5, we have Florence Pugh. Back in June of 2020, Florence Pugh apologized after a past post resurfaced of the actor wearing things like cornrows and cultural attire. As fans were quickly to call out the Little Woman actor, Florence responded by saying, "Stupid doesn't even cut it. I was uneducated, I was unread," and she went on to say that she can't dismiss the actions she brought into years ago, but she believed those who are blind to such things must acknowledge them and recognize them as our faults, our ignorance, and our white privilege, and that she apologized for taking her this long to realize that. Luckily, fans were glad to see the star recognized her own faults, and they were proud to see that she took the time to reflect on her past. Number 4, we have Addison Rae. In 2020, TikTok star had to take a week-long break from social media after it was discovered she reposted an All Lives Matter video from 4 years ago. In the video she reposted, it highlighted that Black Lives Matter movement was a cult. This obviously didn't sit well with fans, and over the star's week break from social media, they went on a frenzy to tell her exactly why it didn't sit well with them. When Addison finally returned to social media, she posted an apology tweet saying that she owes everybody an apology. The star stated that she shouldn't have posted a video 4 years ago, and that all lives cannot matter until Black lives do. The star then went on to say that the Black community was and continues to be oppressed and damaged by the systematic racism. Fans still remain to be unimpressed with the star, mainly because of how long it took her to come out with an apology, and for the fact why she remained silent for the 8 days. The star was actually spotted hanging out with the Kardashians. Number 3, we have Lily Reinhart. In 2020, Lily Reinhart tried to bring awareness to Black Lives Matter movement and Breonna Taylor's death in an unconventional way. The star went on to post not so flattering picture with a statement, "Now that my body has gotten your attention, Breonna Taylor's murderers have still not been arrested, and the star demand justice." The star received a lot of backlash for her tone deaf post, and the actor quickly apologized by saying, "I've always tried to use my platform for good and speak out against things that are more important to me. I also can admit that I make mistakes, and I made a mistake with my caption. It was never my intent to insult anybody, and I'm truly sorry for those who were offended." As Lily's overall apology was good itself, many fans thought the Riverdale actress should have known better than to make light of any situation with a provocative photo. And if we can learn anything from this incident, it would be just that. Number 2, we have Kat Von D. Over the years, Kat Von D has been accused of many things, such as being an anti. However, in 2019, the star hit YouTube to deny all of these claims. In an 11-minute video posted, the makeup artist explained that the rumors started in 2008 when an angry male co-star tried to get her spin-off of LA Inc. canceled. As for the claims, the star said the rumor started when she was pregnant and posted a now deleted photo with the caption, "Plan to raise my baby vegan and vaccination free." She went on to say that she's not an but a first-time mother, and that at the time of the post, she didn't have enough information to back up her decision. While Kat hoped the 11-minute video would put rumors to rest, fans remained still unimpressed with the star, as they claimed she didn't actually deny any of these rumors, but rather spread more information instead of apologizing. At number 1, we have Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul over the years has made some pretty questionable choices that have sent viewers into multiple frenzies. However, in 2018, when Paul went on a trip to Japan, he visited the forest known as forest. The star, for whatever reason, thought it'd be a good idea to film hiking through the forest, and when him and his team came across victim, rather than turning off the camera, they decided to continue to film and cracked a few jokes such as, "Did we just find a dead person in forest?" And this was supposed to be a fun blog. Many fans were quick to lash out at the star for his disrespectful behavior, which led to the star to delete the footage and release an apology. But many fans were left disappointed with the apology video, as it stated the star still remained ignorant and insecure. In the video, Paul explains that he didn't make the video to get views. He did it because he thought he could make a positive ripple on the internet. He stated he only intended to wear awareness for and thought his video could save a life. Yeah, I don't think any of us bought that statement, and if anything, all Paul's video did was misguide and shed light on a harmful situation.
Starting off at number 10, we have Ellen DeGeneres. This is one that you should all know about, but I'll give you the lowdown anyways. Ellen's perfect castle of niceness came crashing down earlier this year when reports started to surface that she was incredibly two-faced, and she was actually way meaner in real life than she portrayed on her show. Then it got even worse when reports came out that her show was incredibly toxic too, and she allowed terrible behavior to happen to the crew of the show. After months of laying low, Ellen opened her 18th season with a long-awaited apology. Part of the apology said, quote, "I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show." And although her adoring fans accepted the apology, tons of people did not, and they didn't like how she reinforced the idea that she really just wasn't aware of what was happening when people think that she did. Also, make sure to like the video if you haven't already. And at number 9, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel was forced to apologize after clips resurfaced of him in blackface while acting in a comedy sketch. He addressed the claims in a long statement where he starts off saying that he was reluctant to address the scandal because he knew it would be used as a political tool to undermine his political beliefs. Adding, quote, "That delay was a mistake. There is nothing more important to me than your respect, and I apologize to those who were genuinely hurt or offended by the makeup I wore or the words that I spoke." He continued by giving context that when he was portraying the character of NBA player Karl Malone, he only thought of portraying him for his personality, not his race. And although the apology was accepted by some, it was criticized heavily for the political tones that were unnecessarily included. And at number 8, Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot made the first quarantine blunder when her and tons of other Hollywood elites decided to make a video singing to Imagine to give us all hope through the tough times of quarantine. But instead of giving us hope, they gave us all cringe. And not only was it cringy, it was also really tone deaf to the people struggling while celebrities are in their million-dollar mansions. And even though it got a lot of heat, Gal Gadot did not apologize. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Gadot addressed it though, saying, quote, "Sometimes, you try and do a good deed, and it's just not the right good deed. I had nothing but good intentions, and it came from the best place, and I just wanted to send light and love to the world. But yeah, I started it, and I can only say that I meant to do something good and pure, and it didn't transcend. I just came to the conclusion, I do me, you do you. And I'd rather not have you liking me at this moment than not saying my truth." And even though I get what she is trying to say, just admitting that it was tone deaf wouldn't really have been like a bad idea. And at number 7, Lea Michele. Lea Michele faced her backlash during the George Floyd protests, when former Black Glee cast members spoke about how she treated them differently because of their race, with one actor stating that Michelle made her, quote, "first television gig a living hell," and actually made her question a career in Hollywood. A few days after many others spoke out, Lea posted a long apology to social media, but many had an issue issue with the fact that she used the word perceived, making it seem like a non-apology, with the statement reading, "The responses I received to what I posted have made me also focus specifically on how my own behavior towards fellow cast members was perceived by them." And the apology was so bad, the actress who called her out in the first place said in an interview, all that her apology did was affirm that she hasn't learned anything. And at number 6, Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens was another celebrity to have a very unnecessary quarantine blunder. It happened in March of 2020 when she went live on Instagram to talk about the pandemic. And during the live, she says, even if everybody gets it, like yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible but inevitable, which just makes no sense at all. Her statement of course created a ton of backlash, and she was forced to apologize on Twitter days later, writing in a tweet, "I realize my words were insensitive and not at all appropriate for the situation our country and the world are in right now. This has been a huge wake-up call to the significance my words have now more than ever. I'm sending safe wishes to everyone to stay safe and healthy during this crazy time." And some people thought that apology didn't go far enough, but also I'm sure with what she said, she didn't really want to have to repeat it in the apology, so yeah. Halfway number 5, Chase Stokes. Breakout star of Netflix's Outer Banks, Chase Stokes, had to issue an apology after past posts resurfaced of him being derogatory to the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and people of color. But people were annoyed when it seemed like he was trying to blame the whole thing on the hackers that leaked the information. The statement read, "I have posted insensitive tweets. My Facebook has been hacked countless times. The picture isn't even of me or anybody I know. Again, I'm incredibly sorry, I really am. I hope you guys see what I'm currently doing and how I'm continuing to do the right thing by being respectful in today's climate. This doesn't excuse my words, nor am I excusing myself." Then he ended up getting his Twitter back, and the offensive tweets as well as the apology were deleted. So little sus there. And at number 4, Kanye West. Kanye's apology was a little different than the other ones on this list, and that was because instead of apologizing to the public, he was publicly apologizing to his wife, Kim Kardashian. A few months ago, Kanye went on a few tweeting sprees where he said disrespectful things about countless celebrities, including his wife and other members of the Kardashian clan. And around the same time, he also had a campaign rally where he said Kim was thinking of terminating her first pregnancy with her daughter, North. In the days after, photos were released of Kim and Kanye fighting in a car, with Kim crying. As a response to everything, he tweeted out an apology to his wife, saying in the tweet, "I would like to apologize to my wife Kim for going public with something that was a private matter. I did not cover her like she's covered me. To Kim, I want to say I know I hurt you. Please forgive me. Thank you for always being there for me." And even though he apologized, he can never really take back the fact that now everyone knows about that secret, including his daughter one day, which is definitely pretty messed up. And at number 3, Alison Roman. Celebrity chef Alison Roman got herself into quite a pickle when she decided to publicly shame Chrissy Teigen. In an interview, Roman said that she was horrified by Teigen's cooking empire and accused people of running a content farm for her, saying in the piece, "That horrifies me, and it's not something that I ever want to do. I don't aspire to that. But who's laughing now? Because she's making a ton of money," referring to Chrissy Teigen. Roman also called out Marie Kondo, who she said just sold out immediately. After the comments went viral online, Teigen responded by calling the comments a huge bummer. But after the backlash got too much to bear, Roman made a formal apology on Instagram, writing, "I used their names disparagingly to try and distinguish myself, which I absolutely do not have an excuse for. It was stupid, careless, and insensitive. I need to learn and respect the difference between being unfiltered and honest versus being uneducated and flippant." And at number 2, Evangeline Lilly. Evangeline Lilly also got lumped into the mix of celebrities that made quarantine blunders in March when she made an Instagram post saying that her life basically wasn't affected by the virus. They're suggesting that she wasn't social distancing herself from others and that her freedoms are more important than a pandemic. The actress was quickly and widely criticized. And 10 days later, on March 26th, Lilly apologized for her dismissive, arrogant message, saying in a statement, "I thought I was infusing calm into the hysteria. I can see now that I was projecting my own fears into an already fearful and traumatic situation." And finally, number 1, Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks is another celebrity that had a cancellation during the pandemic. It happened when old clips from America's Next Top Model resurfaced, and she was called out for her harsh behavior. One specifically was a clip from 2006 where she tells Danielle Evans that the gap in her teeth is not marketable, and she should close it to secure a CoverGirl contract. But then a few seasons later, she told someone to widen their gap. In a response, Banks tweeted, "I've been seeing the posts about the insensitivity of some past America's Next Top Model moments, and I agree with you. Looking back, back, those were some really off choices. Appreciate your honest feedback, and I'm sending so much love and virtual hugs. But since she didn't actually address any of the shady behavior in that apology, people thought it was more so just a cop-out.
Number 10, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It doesn't matter how famous you may be, when you enter a country, you gotta go through customs, bud. In 2016, Hollywood heartthrob Johnny Depp and his future nemesis Amber Heard decided to take a little trip to Australia when they were stopped by custom agents. After realizing that the two dogs they brought with them were not declared on their forms, Pistol and Boo, terrible names for dogs by the way, were allowed into the country thanks to Amber admitting that she had falsified documents. As part of the investigation that took place, Amber and Johnny were made to record an apology video to the Australian government, while simultaneously acting as a PSA. The most monotone and sad PSA that's probably ever existed. They're literally sitting in a cozy little love seat and staring down at a camera. Not into it like this, they're going down at it like their computer was just on a table that's a little too short. They can also very obviously be seen reading off of prompters or some kind of like a cue card. And while Johnny is not even trying to act like he cares, Amber Heard seems to be engaged the entire time, like she's doing an audition tape or something. At the end of the day, smuggling two dogs into Australia was the least of their problems, as we all know now thanks to their very public and messy trial. Number 8, Logan Paul. A warning to any of our squeamish viewers, this story is a little wild, so check this out or skip it. Logan Paul, a man now known as WWE Superstar, was once actually a famous YouTube star. With millions of subscribers, his channel's popularity quickly skyrocketed in the early 2010s. Until one day, Logan and his friends decided to go to a famous forest in Japan to film a camping challenge video. A forest that is unfortunately famous for the tragedies that take place there. Many lives have ended in the forest, and some were self-inflicted. Now, while venturing in the forest, Logan and his crew spotted a recently deceased individual just hanging from a tree, and instead of alerting the authorities and cutting the cameras, he acted like it was the wildest thing he had ever seen, all the while wearing a hat designed to look like one of the little green guys from Toy Story. This dude is a child! If you want proof that he is, just watch his apology. Actually don't, I'll just save you the trouble. He actually shouted at the body in the tree asking if it was okay and if they were fooling with them. They stood there filming for over 30 minutes before finally leaving the forest. The video was not demonetized and it received massive backlash. At the beginning and end of the clip, he urges any viewers suffering from mental health issues to seek help, blatantly exploiting the situation. Many viewers felt traumatized by the video and began drowning his channel with negative comments. He released an apology in which he claimed to face a monsoon of negativity, that he doesn't do it for the views, that he just gets them, and he actually spent a good chunk of the video sadly telling the audience how popular he is. Literally, he sat there just like, I'm sorry, I'm just so famous, it's not my fault people like me. Needless to say, nobody cared for the apology and his YouTube career was in the dumps. But the world wrestling entertainment industry doesn't care what you did, so get over there, you little scamp. Number 7, Roseanne Barr. Actress Roseanne Barr was set to star in a revival of her hit sitcom Roseanne in 2018, but that show was abruptly canceled when she decided to post a racially fueled rant on Twitter. According to Rosie though, it wasn't her fault. The TV star made inaccurate and inappropriate claims about Valerie Jarrett, who was a former advisor to Barack Obama, and claims the only reason she actually went ahead and posted anything was because of the copious amounts of sleeping pills she had taken. She apologized at first, but through the apology she just defends herself by saying, it was 2 in the morning, I was on Ambien, it was Memorial Day, I went too far. Ah yes, Memorial Day, the maker of many racist tweets, I'm sure. Just in case you didn't already know, blaming anything you do on substances, that's not really a good excuse, yeah? Can't walk up to a cop and be like, oh, I'm sorry I crashed my car into that guy's house, I just ate like 6 Flintstones vitamins and I'm really lightheaded. She continued the apology and capped it off with, forgive my bad jokes. Sounds like me when I'm doing this. She later deleted both her tweets and her account. It seems like someone has finally revoked her internet privileges and placed a password on her social medias. Number 6, Colleen Ballinger. Former YouTuber and current demon Colleen Ballinger has recently been outed as a groomer of her young fans. Now for those who don't know the term groomer, let's keep it that way because it's pretty gross. Colleen is best known for her character Miranda Sings on YouTube, who became so popular that she received her own Netflix series. And if you haven't seen that yet, it's too late, it's long been deleted now. Following the slew of cancellation and backlash from the entire world, Colleen decided to post an apology online, and she did apologize while playing a ukulele. After this woman is shown to be an actual, physical monster, she thought it was appropriate to go online and be like, I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't mean to groom those kids. In response to the cringiest apology of all time, her fans decided to remind her of a little bit of a misstep that she made in her career. A few years ago, she decided that it would be an awesome idea during one of her live shows to sing and dance to Beyonce's Single Ladies. We've all been there, right? But you know where we haven't all been? Doing it in blackface. Yep, there is just a terrible, terrible clip of Colleen barefoot on stage, wildly flailing and waving about, just covered in makeup. How did it take so long for that lady to get canceled? None of the parents at that concert were like, man, I love this. Oh no. Number 5, Mario Batali. In case you didn't know who this man is, you can probably guess what he does by looking at his last name, Batali. Batali was a world-famous TV show chef, hosting his own cooking show and participating in several competition series like Iron Chef America. In 2017, Mario was accused of misconduct by 4 women, and he was forced to step down from his role on television and issued a public apology for his actions. He said that he made mistakes and he was sorry for his actions, but at the end of the long-winded by the numbers apology, he added a link to a recipe for pizza dough cinnamon rolls, adding, hey, in case you're searching for a holiday-inspired breakfast, these pizza dough cinnamon rolls are a fan favorite. That would have been like Logan Paul going, I apologize for my actions, it'll never happen again. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content. The tone-deaf apology became an overnight viral meme. Not only was Mario being called out as a creepy creep from Creepville, he was also being called out for offering such a terrible recipe. Dude, seriously, next time just make it cookies. Or don't harass people. Number 4, Louis C.K. Louis was dominating the comedy scene in the early 2010s thanks to the success of his sitcom based loosely on his life called Louis. In 2017 though, he was forced to make a public apology after it was revealed that he had a problem keeping his trouser snake in its cave. The sitcom star and stand-up comedian was hot off an appearance on the late night sketch show Saturday Night Live when the allegations began arising. Probably happening after people saw that really weird ice cream sketch that he was in, and if you don't know what that is, keep it that way. It's weird. It was revealed that the rumors were in fact true because Louis posted an apology titled "The Stories Are True," just right at the top. 5 women had alleged misconduct on Louis' part. He exposed himself to the women without their consent. In his apology, he wouldn't stop referring to the power that he had over these women, the strength that he wielded. He said he felt remorseful, but he sounded like a supervillain the whole time. To cap off the tone-deaf apology, he listed all of the projects that he was involved in that would be suffering for his cancellation. Like before he went out, he needed to remind us all how good he was. Oh, I'm sorry for my actions. The worst part is that all of my TV shows and movies are going to suffer because of it. Suck it up, buddy. Number 3, Justin Timberlake. In 2004, a wardrobe malfunction shook the world, because it was 2004. Nothing crazy had really happened yet. The two were performing together during the halftime show at the Super Bowl when Justin accidentally exposed Janet's left nip to the audience. According to Justin's team, he was only meant to remove a rubber part of the costume to reveal a red lace bra. MTV released a statement claiming that the situation was unrehearsed, unplanned, and inconsistent with the assurances they had about the content of their performers. Very, very by the numbers. They claimed that they had no idea that this was even happening until the very last minute. In fact, for some reason, Janet received most of the backlash for the event when it was Justin who was the one that exposed her to the crowd. Janet released a public apology, basically absolving MTV of any wrongdoings. But Justin's apology was just a little harder to watch. At that year's Grammy Awards, Justin took the stage to accept an award for the Best Male Pop Vocal Performance for Cry Me a River. And in order for him to be allowed on stage, he was actually made to issue a public apology for the events at the Super Bowl. It was the most by-the-numbers apology ever recorded, to the point where he literally says, "What occurred was unintentional, completely regrettable, and I apologize if you were offended." He was trying to be suave when he said it, but it just came off really just bad. This was one of the first times that the world collectively cringed at somebody, so brought us all together in the end. Number 2, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had one of the most successful daytime talk shows of all time until 2020. Her show became overwhelmed with accusations of a toxic work environment from former employees. They were claiming that Ellen's happy exterior was nothing more than a facade put in place to keep the audience on her team. A small bit of proof came when she accused 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson of not inviting her to a birthday party a few months before she was on the show. Now, Dakota reminded her that she had in fact sent an invitation and received a notice from her producer that she didn't want to attend. Fans began questioning the awkward moment, and the cracks in her appearance grew bigger and bigger. Eventually, an article was released containing testimonies from several former employees, with just too many stories to have been a false narrative. Ellen canceled herself by denying every single thing that she was being accused of, and instead of acknowledging her faults and missteps, missteps as a boss. Instead, Ellen's fans took to Twitter demanding that she respond to the articles that claim that she was a short-tempered tyrant. She posted a half-hearted apology to social media and appeared on her talk show to deliver the bad news, while simultaneously trying to save face by claiming that she had no idea what was going on behind the scenes because it was such a big place. She doubled down though, because during that physical appearance on the show, she did an apology in front of her audience. It was a Zoom audience because, you know, no go inside places back then, so she literally edited in laugh tracks and applause during her apology. It's an apology, okay? Not a Netflix special. Number 1, Bryan Adams. A warning to anyone who is sensitive about the year 2020, you might want to just go to the end of the video. Canadian singer-songwriter Bryan Adams was forced to post a public apology for an Instagram post that was racist, crass, and inflammatory according to CBC News. In 2020, the world was at a standstill, and Bryan, much like the rest of us, were made to stay inside and avoid contact with anyone. To pass the time, he decided to play some music and spread some joy to the world. Oh wait, did I say joy? I meant to say nonsense. Yeah, it's nonsense. He played the song Cut Like a Knife and posted it on Instagram, apparently on the night he was set to begin a number of gigs at Royal Burt Hall. Now, I was going to quote what he said, but I'm pretty sure this video would get deleted immediately thanks to all of the misinformation. To summarize, he was racist, he was anti-Semitic, he claimed that the situation had been fabricated, and wrapped it up by telling everyone to go vegan. That was probably the worst part of it all. The odd message coupled with the song not only puzzled fans of the singer, but it enraged them. This was some kind of a misguided attempt to open our eyes to something, but all he did was make himself look like a moron. He posted an apology on Instagram saying there was no excuse, and it was just him wanting to rant about animal cruelty and wet markets being a possible source of the virus, and to promote veganism. Okay, but why though, okay? We all saw Tiger King, we know animals need to be saved. Go back to your cave, Brian.
At number 10, we have Matt Damon and his admission to no longer using the F slur because of his daughter calling him out. He informed the Sunday Times how he refrains from now saying the homophobic remark because his daughter had to basically beg him to stop saying it. He recalled making a quote joke and how the word was commonly used when he was a child in a supposedly different context. In response to the ever-knowing backlash, Matt says he received an essay from his daughter after she left the table and retreated to her room to pen it. To say the least, the public was not pleased, and his apology still has yet to be fully accepted by members of the LGBTQ+ community and its allies. At number 9, we have Crazy Rich Asians actress Nora Lum, famously known as Awkwafina, yes, like the water. For her issue, she was called out for using a black scent in her roles, as well as her frequent appropriation of AAVE, or in full African American vernacular English. She addressed the criticism that came with her initial backlash via a Twitter statement. However, many felt like it was far too late for her to push her tweets in regards to her past action, and how long she delayed addressing the years-long issue of black identity being reduced to entertainment punchlines, ultimately harming the young black creatives in Hollywood. The statement was released 2 weeks after the public outcry that was Awkwafina's NAACP Image Award, which once typically honored black historic achievement and talent in Hollywood. This upset many due to her original reluctance to apologize and address the sparked debate of her past AAVE appropriation. Awkwafina announced her Twitter leave hours after her statement, and this sparked further rage with her lack of commitment to the issue, especially since it was addressed during Black History Month originally. In short, Jonathan Gibbs, Black and Asian Alliance Network founder, once detailed how if Awkwafina had the guts to speak about black people knowing their issues with her, then her team should not be protecting her, and she should have remained silent until she was actually ready to commit, since that is what she was doing all along anyway. At number 8, we have TikToker Sienna Mae Gomez and her essay allegations from another TikToker, Jack Wright. Following her situation unfolding, Sienna made a BFFS podcast appearance to address concerns and brought a forensic expert and lawyer to assist her in the dispute claims she has since denied. The footage analyzed a clip of Sienna and Jack making out, with Sienna on top, but Jack's friend, who first brought the situation to light, stated that Jack was unconscious at the time of the situation, which Jack later supported his overview of the event. Unfortunately, the clip was deemed too short to determine what really happened, so it was revoked from being credible evidence. Since Jack posted his YouTube video accusing Sienna, she's lost over 1 million TikTok followers, and her attempted apology to try and smooth things over was never widely accepted. At number 7, we have celebrity chef Mario Batali and the odd cinnamon roll recipe he attached to his online statement after being accused of misconduct by 4 women. He started off his email newsletter with an apology for his quote past behavior. In short, it reads, "I have made many mistakes and I am so very sorry that I have disappointed my friends, my family, my fans, and my team. My behavior was wrong and there are no excuses. I take full responsibility." However, following the apology, there was an added postscript slated at the end that was heavily referred to as tone deaf. It stated, "In case you're searching for a holiday-inspired breakfast, these pizza dough cinnamon rolls are a fan favorite," along with an embedded link for the recipe. Twitter reactions were understandably both swift and negative, and Mario stepped down from his restaurant empire amid the allegations. The Italian market chain he owns had also distanced itself from the once highly sought-after celebrity chef. At number 6, we have ex-spouses Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Back when these two were together and weren't splashing tabloids with their unforgettably messy defamation trial, they landed themselves in hot water in Australia, issuing a somberly awkward apology for failing to declare their 2 Yorkshire Terriers properly when they entered the country. Amber's defense video was released by the Australian government, where she heavily apologized and was spared a conviction over her dog smuggling saga. Originally, Amber pled guilty to knowingly producing a false/misleading document, but her other 2 charges for illegally importing her dogs were dropped. She had her classic stony face court look as she spoke about the importance of protecting Australia and its strict biosecurity law. Eventually, the court gave Amber a 1-month bond sentence for good behavior. The dogs were said to have had a 73-hour ultimatum about them getting put down by Australian's Minister Joyce, who told ABC that he was satisfied with the views the videos was accumulating worldwide. The 2 were in the country for Johnny's filming of Pirates of the Caribbean, and Johnny was not charged over the incident but did accompany Amber in court. According to 7 News, although her offense was large, Amber was not believed to be above the law by the judge, as her travel and work were necessary at the time. Still, surely we all now know how Amber's publicly rejected apology still haunts her via the internet every waking day. At number 5, we have Papa John's former chairman and founder John Schneider, who had gone under fire for admitting he had been, quote, working for 20 months to get the N-word eradicated from his vocabulary following a racist conference call leak. In the interview where he issued an apology, John seemed more focused on discovering who was behind the leak rather than genuinely apologizing, and lashed out at any suggestion that he's a racist. John recalled being shocked from the outing of his role in the famous pizza chain and began to blame his board for the incident, as he's done previously, noting that he would figure out who did it. Of course, he could just take responsibility for his actions, but why would he do that? Anyway, it's the year 2019, and John participated in a fairly quickly viral interview where he claimed his then owners were conspiring to axe him from the franchise, going on about how people he, quote, loved and made multi-millionaires would do what they did. He then proceeded to wish shame on them and hammered directly into then new CEO Steve Ritchie for allegedly having no pizza experience. Obviously, this apology was both out of pocket and distasteful, and the public was not here for it. At number 4, we have 21 Pilots frontman Tyler Joseph, and the internet calling him out for his lack of platform use in light of the Black Lives Matter movement. During the wake of the protests, loads of influencers began using their platforms to actively speak out against a multitude of issues like racism and police brutality. But Tyler? Oh, he was not. In fact, he even made a complete joke of a very serious issue, even after fans urged him to use his 2.2 million Twitter followers and 5.1 million Instagram following to help make a difference. It wasn't long before he dropped a Twitter picture of him wearing platform shoes with the caption, "You guys keep asking me to use my platforms. Feels good to dust these bad boys off." Worse, Tyler doubled down in the following tweet once the backlash came with, "This is not a notes app moment. I'm doubling down on my platform" tweet. It was fantastic. Of course, mass disappointment was expressed, and Tyler soon issued an additional apology which seemed slightly more sincere after he said he was attempting to, quote, raise awareness. He expressed his tweet was not in regard to human rights and that he stood for BLM, along with a link that sourced ways to help victims of the BLM protests. Overall though, his apology was like the boy who cried wolf, insensitive and leaving absolutely no room for public forgiveness. At number 3, we have the 45-day prison sentence of Mark Wahlberg and how he claimed he had turned his life around after being imprisoned for his double-charged, racially motivated hate crime attacks as a teenager. Mark was charged with violating the civil rights of his victims for the first attack, and as per the latter, he was found guilty of attempted murder. Furthermore, Mark pled guilty for, quote, claiming he was intoxicated and the attacks weren't race-related. Mark had a previous civil rights injunction which prohibited him from threatening, assaulting, or intimidating anyone due to race or nationality, and was found contempt in court with an original 2-year prison sentence. However, his attacks on Vietnamese men were only served for a little over a month, which he attempted to seek pardon for and have wiped clean from his criminal record due to his supposedly recent actions showing the world how he quote changed. The request was later dropped by Mark in 2016, and in a The Guardian interview, he detailed again how much work he had supposedly put in to make things right. Still, the public did not and probably still doesn't agree nor believe that he can change his deep-seated ways from a mere 45 days in jail. At number 2, we have Gina Rodriguez's non-apology apology following her call out for singing the N-word on her Instagram story. The video stems from her jamming along to Ready or Not while getting glammed up, and in it you see her say the N-word part from the lyrics. This was shortly followed by the removal of the video 3 hours later and a subpar apology on the app, with the star admitting she had acted thoughtlessly. Gina wrote, "In a song or real life, the words that I spoke should not have been spoken," where she also discussed needing to seriously grow and learn a public lesson in regards to the historical pain which stems from the slur. Gina was once also formally deemed to be, quote, evoking the spirit of all lives matters when she ran into another anti-black community issue of erasing black women during a Smallfoot interview she partook in with grownish star Yara Shahidi. At number 1, we have Doja Cat landing herself in hot water when her problematically anti-gay tweets were dug up by avid fans and resurfaced online. But the now deleted tweets alone weren't upsetting, it was also her apology that sparked even more outrage on social media. Doja had previously used the homophobic comment known as the F slur to reference Odd Future members Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt. When she issued her apology, it came in the defense of her past self, which obviously amped up controversy and broadcasted her use of language to an even wider audience, people who didn't even know who she was. This wasn't the first nor the last time Doja would be accused of saying hurtful or wrong remarks, but this is probably her biggest. And after the initial remarks, she issued a cycle of apologies expressing her deep remorse, all of which have been deleted from her Twitter. She penned in a since deleted Note app post with her most recognized apology on August 29th, yet she has not stopped receiving backlash for her comments since. Many deem her apology to be ineffective since she makes profits off of people from the LGBTQ+ community and seemingly has not learned her lesson of spewing problematic comments to this day.
Number 9, Logan Paul. A warning to any of our squeamish viewers, the story here is a little bit wild, so maybe skip to the next one. So check this out. Logan Paul, a man known now as a WWE superstar, was once a famous YouTube star. With millions of subscribers, his channel's popularity quickly skyrocketed in the early 2010s. Until one day, Logan and his friends decided to go to a famous forest in Japan to film a camping challenge video. A forest that is unfortunately famous for the tragedies that take place there. Many lives have ended in the forest and some were self-inflicted. Now, while venturing into the forest, Logan and his crew spotted a recently deceased individual, and instead of alerting the authorities and cutting the cameras, he acted like it was the wildest thing he'd ever seen, man! All the while wearing a hat design that looked like one of the little green guys from Toy Story. He is such a child. If you want proof, just watch his apology. Actually don't, let me just save you some trouble. He actually shouted at that body asking if it was okay or if they were fooling with us, bro. They stood there filming for over 30 minutes before finally leaving the forest. The video was not demonetized and received massive backlash. At the beginning and end of the clip, he urges any viewer suffering from mental health issues to seek help. He is blatantly exploiting the situation for money. Many viewers felt traumatized by the video and began drowning his channel with negative comments. He released an apology in which he claimed to face a monsoon of negativity, that he doesn't do it for the views, he just gets them. And he actually spent a good chunk of the video sadly telling the audience just how popular he is. "Oh, I'm sorry I did it. I'm just so famous. It's not my fault. People like me." Needless to say, nobody cared for that apology and his YouTube career was in the dumps. But the World Wrestling Entertainment industry doesn't care, and they were like, "Hey man, come on over here, you little scamp." Number 8, Chris Brown. Chris Brown was a famous singer and rap artist, and for a little while he was dating another famous singer far superior to himself, Rihanna. As many may know, an incident took place in 2009 between Chris and Rihanna that resulted in Chris being arrested for physically harming Rihanna, and he pled guilty to those charges. 4 weeks following the plea, he released a public apology, not on Instagram or Facebook, but on television, the good old-fashioned way. He wore a plain orange shirt and stared down the barrel of the camera to make us all feel more comfortable. Because you know what's really relaxing? Bright colors and prolonged eye contact. He made a number of by-the-book apologies like "there is no excuse, I'm sad, I'm ashamed of my actions, I told Rihanna, and I'll tell you guys, I'm very sorry. What I did was unacceptable. Well, no one was buying that, and his career has never recovered from the incident, and despite continuing to date Rihanna on and off for a couple of years after that, the two want absolutely nothing to do with each other. Number 7. Colleen Ballinger. Former YouTuber and current demon Colleen Ballinger has recently been outed as a groomer of her young fans. For those who don't know that term, good, keep it that way, it's nasty. Colleen is best known for her character Miranda Sings on YouTube, who became so popular that she received her own Netflix series. If you haven't seen that, well, too late, it's long gone now. Following the slew of cancellation and backlash from the world, Colleen decided to post an apology online, and she did apologize while playing a ukulele. After this woman is shown to be a literal monster, she thought it was appropriate to go online and be like, "I'm so sorry for what I did. I didn't mean to groom those kids." In response to the cringiest apology of all time, her fans decided to remind her of a little misstep she made in her career. A few years ago, she decided it would be an awesome idea during one of her live shows to sing and dance to Beyonce's Single Ladies. I mean, hey, we've all been there, you know? You know where we all haven't been though? Wearing blackface while we did it. Yep, there is just a terrible, terrible clip of Colleen barefoot on stage, wildly flailing and waving her arms about, covered in makeup. How did it take so long for this woman to get canceled? What, none of the parents at that concert were like, "Man, I love Beyonce"? Hey! Number 6. Bryan Adams. A warning to anyone who is sensitive about the year 2020, you might want to skip over this one. Canadian singer-songwriter Bryan Adams was forced to post a public apology for an Instagram post that was, well, racist, crass, and inflammatory, according to the CBC News. In 2020, the world was at a standstill, and Bryan, much like the rest of us, were made to stay inside and avoid contact with anybody. To pass that time, he decided to play some music and spread some joy to the world. Oh, sorry, did I say joy? I meant to say nonsense. He played the song Cut Like a Knife and posted it on Instagram, apparently on the night that he was set to begin a number of gigs at the Royal Albert Hall. Now, I was going to quote what he said, but I am pretty sure this video would get deleted thanks to all of the misinformation. To summarize, he was racist, anti-Semitic, he claimed that the situation happening was fabricated, and wrapped it all up by telling everyone to go vegan, which was probably the worst part of it all. The odd message coupled with the song not only puzzled fans of the singer, but it enraged them. This was some kind of a misguided attempt to open our eyes to something, but all he did was make himself look like a moron. He posted an apology on Instagram saying there was no excuse, just him wanting to rant about animal cruelty and wet markets being a possible source of the virus and to promote veganism. Okay, but like, why though? We all saw Tiger King, we know animals need to be saved. You can go away back to your little cave now, Bryan. Number 5. Roseanne Barr. Actress Roseanne Barr was set to star in a revival of her sitcom Roseanne in 2018, but the show was abruptly cancelled when Barr decided to post a racially fueled rant on Twitter. According to Rosie though, it's not her fault. The TV star made inaccurate and inappropriate claims about Valerie Jarrett, a former advisor to Barack Obama, and claims that the only reason she actually went ahead and posted anything was because of the copious amounts of sleeping pills that she had taken. She apologized at first, but throughout the apology she defends herself, saying it was 2 in the morning and I was on Ambien. It was Memorial Day, I went too far. Ah yes, Memorial Day, the maker of many racist tweets, I'm sure. In case you didn't already know, blaming anything you did on substances is not really a good excuse. Oh, I'm so sorry I crashed my car into your house. Ugh, I just ate like 6 Flintstones vitamins and I'm so lightheaded. She continued the apology and capped it off with "Forgive my bad jokes." Sounds like me at the end of a long work day. She later deleted both her tweets and her account, and it seems like someone has finally revoked her internet privileges and placed a password on her social medias. Number 4. Gina Rodriguez. Let this next entry be a lesson to everyone. Just cause you can say a word in sign language does not mean that it's okay, which is exactly what happened to Gina Rodriguez in 2019. The actress, best known for her role as the titular Jane in the sitcom Jane the Virgin, wanted to show off her sign language skills by singing along to the song Ready or Not by the Fugees. The video, that was since deleted, showed Gina signing fast and furious with the track, including the N-word a couple of times. She apologized to anyone that may have been offended by the inclusion of the word in the track, claiming that it was a song she grew up with. That's nice, but my main concern is, why do you know that word in sign language? Who taught you that word in sign language? Did you take the time to sign each individual letter? The dedication it takes to learn sign language is ridiculous. I had to learn some for a play in high school, and all I remember is Kanye and doo-doo. I wish it didn't, but I do. Needless to say, nobody appreciated the apology, and they were filled with similar questions as myself. On top of that, many were begging Rodriguez to just get a hobby, like any hobby at all. So if you've seen Gina pop up in your pottery class recently, you know why. Number 3, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had one of the most successful daytime talk shows of all time until 2020. Her show became overwhelmed with accusations of a toxic work environment from her employees. They were claiming that Ellen's happy exterior was nothing more than a facade put in place to keep the audience on her team. A small bit of proof came when she was accused by 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson on not inviting her to a birthday party. In fact, she had and received the invitation that said, "I'm not gonna come, thank you very much." Fans began questioning the awkward moment, and the cracks in her appearance began to grow bigger and bigger. Eventually, an article was released containing testimonies from several former employees with just too many stories to have been a false narrative. Ellen canceled herself by denying every single thing that she was being accused of instead of just acknowledging her faults and missteps as a boss. Fans took to Twitter demanding that she respond to the article and the claims that she was herself a short-tempered tyrant. She posted a half-hearted apology to social media and appeared on her talk show to deliver the bad news, and simultaneously tried to save face by claiming that she had no idea what was going on because hey, the place is so big. Whether that's true or not, she was a boss, she was responsible for her staff, end of conversation. Number 2, Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer was the basis for one of my favorite comedy film moments in the 2008 flick Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell and Danny McBride. And if you don't know that clip or that movie, just go watch it. It is underrated and very worth your time. Apart from the occasional film cameo, Matt spent most of his days as the anchor on Today, a breakfast talk show type deal, until he was forced to quit following allegations of physical misconduct towards female employees. Several employees shared stories of the misconduct. In Matt's apology, he actually claimed that a couple of the stories were fabricated or exaggerated, while the majority of them were completely accurate. That's like me saying, hey, I didn't hit that guy, I lightly slapped him, okay? It's still against the law, Matt. He released a by-the-numbers apology claiming that there were no words to express his sorrow and regret for the pain that he caused others with his words or actions. How about sorry I'm actual trash? Those seem like pretty good words. Those seem like a pretty good place to start. And at number 1, Will Smith. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Rock expressed his excitement to see Jada in a fictional G.I. Jane movie, which in the grand scheme of comedy is not that mean. Clearly Will Smith has never seen a single celebrity roast in his wife, because immediately following the joke, Rock stood in confusion as Will made his way to the stage. He adjusted his jacket, he took a firm, strong stance, and then he clocked Chris in the face. Initially being seen as a planned joke between the two, Will then began shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. Chris handled the situation well. He was cool, calm, collected, and he brought out the next award presenter. He was professional and quick to get things back on track, but unfortunately an hour later, Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He played Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams, in the film King Richard. During his speech, he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming that the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, that slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars, and a few days later, he actually posted a video on Twitter. It was another apology, this time with tears in his eyes. All the stress seemed to have gotten to Will, but his fans didn't really care. The damage was done at that point, and now the J in Agent J for Men in Black stands for